I'm Debbie Polachek. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be decorating one of our rosettes. We're going to work on this. The stamp set we're going to be using is the Toll Christmas crumb cake cardstock. There's a video how to make these rosettes in another video. I'll put it right above the screen right now, so you can go to that first if you want to learn to make a rosette. But anyway, yes, by using this paper to make the little envelope inside, I found out the colors that I wanted. So that helped me determine what stamp set to use, because this is going to have a lot of the reds and a little bit of the green and stuff like that too. Anyway, let's get started decorating our rosette. Okay, today I'm going to show you several techniques with coloring. Today we're going to be using the Stampin' Right markers, which are water-based markers, to do the coloring on our stamp here. Then we're going to also be using a stamping pad and the blender pen to do some coloring. And we're going to also use our stamping blend. So we're going to use 3 different ways of coloring on this project. First of all, I did stamp my stem and my bird all with Memento Black ink. And so let's get started with this. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to do this. The inside of on the marker here, we got one side that's thin, which is for writing. Like you could write your name here. And the other end is a brush end, which makes a broad end. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just do all the lettering on this stamp with the red. And I'm being careful just to get the lettering if I can. And all the highest points are the points that are going to be stamped. And I am using my Stamparatus for this. Go ahead and squeeze that down and see what we got. Now, if I want to go ahead and go back over it again, and I think I will, especially on that C. So now my red's done. Now I'm going to go with the black and same side, the brush end of the marker, and do all the outline of this little ribbon deal here. Trying to be real careful again not to get it on the on the writing, because if you do, it would turn what you just did black. And if you did at this point, you could wipe it off. Like if you got it on there now, you could wipe it off with a paper towel and basically start over again. I got that, looks like it's off the top, but let me go ahead and wipe that off just in case I did mess that up. I'm not real sure. So we just wiped it off and go back over where I need to. And if I miss a spot, I can do it again. So let's see. It looks like that turned out pretty good. So I squeezed my ink pad, and I've got ink down back here on this side here. And I'm going to take my Stampin' my blender pen. And the reason I'm doing it this way, because the garden green does not come in the Stampin' blends, but I do have it in the ink pad. So, and this technique works pretty good for small areas. I don't think I would try it on something as big as the bird, but it does work on these little leaves. So wherever you go from the ink pad to the paper, that's going to be the darkest area where you go first. So then, like there, you can go ahead and rub it off if you want to, and then give everything else a lighter version of that, what you just did. Sometimes when it's a little bit a bigger area, you can start off, and as you work down, see it gets lighter and lighter as you go. But as you can see, there's a little bit of streakiness there, and that's why I don't tend to like it on bigger areas. but it works just fine on these smaller areas. And I'm going where the artist gave the shadows in this, and just putting that darker area where they did, where the little pencil, like where the little lines are. I could use this red here, but this is a little darker red. I'm going to go ahead and use the Stampin' Right markers in the light real red. Now what I have out here is the light real red, the dark real red, and then the light cherry cobbler. I have the light and dark mango melody for the beak. And this is for the stem. It's the dark soft suede for the stem of this. Use the bullet in my red here, light red, and go ahead and give a little bit of, just dot those little berries in. Glue heating up because I'm going to be using that. Okay, I'm going to do the mango for the beak, and so I'm going to just start off with the light. Then on his bottom of his beak, just do it with the darker, maybe right at the base and right at the tip, a little bit darker. And that's done for that. Okay, for the bird, let's see. I'm going to start off with the real red dark. I'm going to take it and I'm going to run it on every darker area of these little sketch lines here. Okay, then I'll take the real red light and I'm going to fill in the rest of this area. Then I'm going to take the cherry cobbler light and go back into this darker area and give this a little bit more shadow in the deepest of the shadows. In other words, I'm leaving the light and I'm leaving the red. The light, this would be the darkest color. I'm putting it in the darkest area. Then I'm leaving that red exposed there and then working it into the light. Now if I want to go back and put some more red into these little areas, I can. Wherever I think that it might need to be worked up a little bit more to be a little bit darker, I can. Okay, so that's part of that's done. Now I will go back, stay with this darker red, real red, and work this area, just like I did the other. Go with the lighter, real red, and just work it there. The darkest is going to be right at the base of this, probably a little bit, and that's probably about it on that one. this is going to be the main color, the real red dark here. Okay, I'm going to go right across there. I'm going to go across that whole outline of that. And here and on there. So basically I'm just outlining that whole area. I'm going to go ahead and do this one too. Outline that one. Give it that area where it's the darkest. All around. And this has got more of the dark real red going through it. Then I'll take the light, go across the whole thing. And use that darkest one again and the darkest areas. Okay. Real red dark. The light. And then go back in with the deepest shadows of the dark. Probably a little bit on this forehead here. And that's it. Bird is done. So I will be cutting those out and I will be back. There is some little bitty swirls that come in this little step set. And I cut 3 of those out in the gold foil. Okay, I got my rosette ready. All I'm going to do is just put these little things on there. I've got my little hanger here. I'm going to try to keep that as straight as possible so my sentiment will look good here. And actually, I think I'm going to put my sentiment on there very first. I'm just going to run a hot glue line across that. And make sure that hangs fairly straight. Okay. Now I'm going to take my bird. Let's see where I want this to be. I ain't quite sure. I want one to go down this way so the bird can stand on the limb. It looks like I want to have that kind of in front of that dot there, so I think I want the stem to be about right there. I'm going to just hold it here and slip some glue behind it. See where I think it might hit that one of those mountains on my rosette here. Okay. Go ahead and glue my bird down. And this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and just cut part of this off. Kind of looking for a kind of a L shape there. And I think that's pretty good. And again, I'm going to just go ahead and run some glue here underneath them. Yeah, I think that looks good over the top of him. On top of him, underneath him, it doesn't really matter. Just whatever you think looks pretty. And I do like some of it hanging over at the top of the rosette. And when you lay this down, you can see exactly where that glue would be sticking. Then we'll take our little pretty little squiggles. We're just going to go right across in the same area that I done the other. This takes very little glue here. You could probably use your regular glue here if you wanted to. But I'm just going to stick with the hot glue. These are so fine and so pretty. Picking out my paper for my little envelope in the back. I use the little envelopes because these are little ornaments, and also they're gifts too. So I have little gift cards inside of here, and you can put your little cinnamon in there. Actually, you can stamp it on with something from this set. Would be very pretty. Little area to sign your card. Okay, what I was going to tell you about the paper, how I chose the colors, it was from this paper. And after I made the rosette, I just started laying the papers across there to see which one I liked better. And that's why I chose those colors. And as you can see, some look better than others. This just don't look too good because it's too much the same level of color. This is about as dark as this, so it does not show up very well. That dark against that looks real pretty to me. Let's see what else. This red looks okay. If it was a little darker red, I think it even looked better. I think black would be very pretty on top of that. But of course, then you would probably want a different stamp set. That looks okay, but I still like this one the best. Let's see about this dark one. This is kind of a plum color. That looks nice, that plum color. So if you had, kind of depends on what stamp set you would pick to do each one of those too. Okay, so that's how I determine the colors to use on this. So anyway, that makes it a little easier for when you go to pick out your color, what to use. Okay, thank you for stopping by and seeing the video, and keep watching because we'll be doing more. Okay, bye-bye.